Okay, Ron, you first. Go ahead.
Yeah, I asked my first question to Ray, and then the rest of you can respond as well. Ray, could you explain to us the constitutional basis for your single-payer health care system that you're proposing?
There is the federal government has always provided for the general welfare of its people, and it is an obligation. I believe health care is a right, not a privilege. I think you should all have the right to health care and access to health care. The system as designed is very much designed to enslave you. And as long as you're not able to recognize that that's what it's being used for and how it's being used, you'll continue to be enslaved.
I would like to, you two each represent a party, right?
Not really. The Democrats took me off their website for saying rotten things about Mayor Begich and Tony Knowles.
Well, I like to convey rites of passage to people that are in a more stronger position here, but believe me, I have lots of opinions. If you wanted to get in and take some time, I have no problem with that, so that you folks have a better understanding. I'm not here to suck up somebody's time.
Okay. Are you passing?
I'll pass it.
Well, if you take the Constitution, it says, "We the people, not we the judges of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, provide for the common defense, and promote the general welfare." You provide money to defend yourself. You do not promote the general welfare with money. You do not provide for the general welfare with money. You promote the general welfare. And so government's proper job in things like health care is to promote it, not provide for it. How do you promote it? By having laws that stop monopolies and have keep competition healthy. But you will suffocate freedom by trying the communist method of confiscation and redistribution. You do have a right to health care in this country. You don't have a right to ask me to pay for it. If I held you up on the street and said, "Look, it's just for my wife, you know, she's got these tumors, you know, and she needs surgery," I'd go to jail. When you use the government to hold you up with its force to take from you through the tax system that they have provided, then you are making the government part of organized crime. We all know that. There is no end to the inventive ways you can use government, which is why we are suffering from inflation and high taxes.
Okay. I got a question. Ray, I was understanding that you are pro-choice, and you believe in the Constitution, and I didn't understand how you could be pro-choice and not for protecting liberty, because if we have to protect life first, I mean, how are we supposed to protect liberty? And if you're against corruption, isn't that ultimately corruption?
Let me answer your question with a question.
Go ahead.
What religion are you?
I believe the Bible, sir.
Strong believer?
I believe the Bible, and I believe, yeah, definitely.
Well, I'm not sure which brand of religion you subscribe to.
Just the Bible.
But it is a religious conviction that life starts with the moment a sperm enters an egg, and that is a human being. I don't share that religious conviction. I think it's a bit silly, frankly. So my point is, from a living, my pro-choice point of view isn't a product of women's rights. It's a product of being a libertarian. Leave me alone. Let me make my own decisions, and I respect other people's, women's right to control their own body the same way. It's their right. And I don't know anybody who is pro-life that is not pro-life as a product of a religion and a religious conviction that they wish to impose on everyone else.
Well, if you look at the reality of it, it's not what you're saying about, you know, their conviction and all this. And honestly, wouldn't it have something to do with them before they ever even got to the hospital? The two adults' decision before they got to the hospital, doesn't that mostly have something to do
I
with
don't
it?
want a government that peeks into people's bedrooms and makes such judgments.
I understand, but it's still an action that's creating justifiable murder, isn't it?
I totally disagree with that.
All right, fine.
I think
Go
it's
ahead.
totally silly to pretend that an embryo is any more a human being than a tadpole is a frog.
Ron?
Yeah, you just brought the hammer to the head of the nail. Abortion hinges upon a definition of murder. The definition of murder is a proper function of state and local government, not the federal government. Therefore, any candidate for federal office, the only proper position to take on abortion is to say it is not a federal issue, and the only action you could take on abortion is to say that there should be no federal right to an abortion, and there should be no federal paying for or subsidizing or encouraging abortions. But other than those factors, abortion is not an issue that these gentlemen should be arguing about.
I would just...
Are we all entitled to answer this?
Yes, go ahead.
Well, first of all, what's your name, sir?
Ron.
Yes, Ron. I'm taking, as a pro-lifer for many years now, and a former president of Right to Life. First of all, we have had an atheist as president of Right to Life for many years in the 70s and 80s. Secondly, we do know exactly when life begins because Planned Parenthood themselves said, of course we know that life begins at conception. It's not a matter of religion, it's a matter of science. You take your blood cells, your fingernail cell, your mustache cell, everyone has 46 chromosomes, with the exception of your reproductive cells. The male sperm has 23 cells, the female sperm has 23 cells. It's the only cells in the entire human body that has only 23 chromosomes. When they meet, you get 46, and there's your scientific proof, which Planned Parenthood themselves is on record. Trust me, it's on record that they said, of course, we know when life begins. However, I do believe that we need to forget about a human life amendment. It is incorrect and false that the only way to overturn a Supreme Court decision is with an amendment to the Constitution. It is a fake antidote fed to the pro-life movement for a long time. My master's thesis was on the 19th century physicians' crusade against abortion. It took them 40 years to go state to state to get the laws done to protect unborn human life. And at what stage in pregnancy or over rape and incest, these black and blue sessions need to be returned to the states, not to a draconian coast-to-coast law that is no law at all, but a dictation of the Supreme Court, which has absolutely no authority. But Congress does have the authority in Article 3, Section 2, to intercept the court's powers from interfering not only in the abortion issue, but in all these other troublesome social issues and return them to the states, and that's where I'm going to go.
So,
Mr. Kennedy.
like, well, to answer your question directly, I'm opposed to abortion for a multitude of reasons. But it would be my position that it needs to be dialogued further, because on the one hand, I don't see how you can claim, first of all, I don't see how you can claim knowledge of life to begin with. Life is so magnificent beyond our grasp, so you really can't define where and when it starts. But the other thing is that I don't see how you can claim the sanctity of the life as a sperm, and yet a 10-year-old with unconditional love on his face dying somewhere in Baghdad from some bomb. It would seem to me the inconsistency of that dedication begs a bigger discussion. And in my candidacy, I would make sure that you had a dwelling and enough electricity and water to where you'd be a free person, and it doesn't matter if you don't like me or anything else, you could live there and no one could bother you because you would have had the fundamentals that you need to live in order to make those decisions from an unencumbered or somebody attempting to intimidate you. So for me, everything is going to swing back to the fact of a dwelling and electricity and water, and which will provide you with transportation and a neighbor that's not going to kill you or want to